Welcome to another episode of Just As Cher Live. And tonight is going to be a hot one. Let me tell you right now, because as a lot of they've already been hot political conversations, but they keep on heating up more and more. And what I am seeing now is as more people have a little bit more time on their hands, and speaking of time, guys, know what I forgot? I really did. One day, my friends, one day I will remember. But speaking of time on your hands, I'm seeing a lot more people be a lot more political with their personal brands. And that's understandable. I mean, people are frustrated. People are upset. People want to work. People want to stay home. And this show is not at all about my opinion. In fact, I will be sharing in this show questions that I want you to think about before you post. I'm not going to tell you to go either way. I always personally lead on the side of caution, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But that is what this show is all about. Are you too political, or are you on the fence about being political with your brand? And if we haven't met yet, my name is Cher Jones, and I am a social media trainer that specializes in the corporate personal brand for business. I'm helping professionals, leaders, entrepreneurs develop powerful personal brands online and teach them how to use social at work for work, wherever work is right now, because I do it virtually. And of course, when we get back to a new semblance of normal, I'll be in person too. But in the meantime, tonight is all about your brand and being too political with it. So while I check to make sure I am broadcasting live, you guys, my friends, have a job to do. You need to let me know, are you team live or team replay? Doesn't matter what team you're on, you're still team Cher. And I appreciate you more than ever before. So please let me know in the comments, team live, team replay, and where you are watching from right now. I'm curious to know. So, I got a notification for my own live. Never happens, but hey, I appreciate it. Thank you, LinkedIn, for sending out notifications and letting people know. Because I know it's frustrating sometimes. People want to know when I go live and they don't get the notification. Don't worry, one day LinkedIn will listen to this very broadcast and be like, yes, Cher. We're going to work on this. Maybe a subscription model. Wouldn't that be awesome? Anyways, let me jump in here. Just want to see what you guys are saying. And yes, I have viewers because I saw. And you guys are already reacting. This is awesome. So Sonia says, greetings, Cher. Greetings, Sonia. Christopher is watching. Donovan. Hi, Donovan. Afsane. I got it. Is watching. Team Live. Whitney, of course, Team Live. Koga, I am doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. Kim from Hartford Live. Love it. Let's see. Hello, Christopher Kata as well. Natalie, Team Live from the T.O. Yeah, I guess I still say that. Do we really say that? No. Marcello and Brian Schulman and Shawnee and Keith and Robert. You guys are awesome. And Randall with his crab. I'm noticing that. That's new, Randall. Hey, Brian, it's nice to see you. He said, my girl. That's right. Who am I missing? All right, Megan. All the way from down under. That's awesome. Melinda. Okay, guys, you are here. Some Windsor, Connecticut. All over the place. All over the world. And right now, the world is hyper political. And I don't know about you guys, but if you guys have been seeing this go into your news feeds, and it can get real ugly inside the comments. And that's one of the things that we have to worry about as we connect our brands to political conversations. And what I want to give you today, again, are questions, things that you need to think about. As well as I'll weigh in where I can. And of course, I look forward to your questions as well. And Shawnee's from Jamaica. Just noticed the flags down below. That is awesome. I am Jamaican too. Canadian born, but Jamaican heritage. Anyways, that's a fun fact about Cher Jones. But back to what I was saying. And as well, I didn't even talk to you about the rest of the show. Tap that, my Scrollstopper. I love this idea, especially it's great if you don't have LinkedIn Live as an option. but you're thinking about doing either a podcast, a video podcast, or a live stream on YouTube, for example. And shout out to everybody watching on YouTube as well as Twitter and Facebook. Guys, all the comments come into me on LinkedIn right now, but I will check back later to make sure that I join in your conversation as well. I know a little late to the party, but I love you guys. So back to what I was saying. So in my Scrollstopper, I'm going to show you this awesome example. It just made me stop. And for those of you who have never heard of a Scrollstopper before, it's whatever stops my thumb. What I do is I break it down and I tell you why it works so that you can use that strategy too. And of course, in Tap That App, a friend of mine actually sent me this particular app suggestion because I asked for them last week. I got several, so I've got a few for the next coming weeks. And if you have an app suggestion, let me know because I love to test out new apps. But if you are frustrated with your formatting on Instagram when you're trying to format your content, you're going to love this one. So stay tuned. But of course, let's get back. Post too political? That is the question that I'm asking you. Well, actually, the question that I'm asking you is, have you ever held back on posting, liking, or even commenting something because of the potential damage it could have on your brand? I want to know. So guys, right now, yes or no in the comments. I want to know. Oh my gosh. Let's not talk about the fact that I didn't start the timer. We'll see if I can finish on time. Yeah. Let's do that. That's so on brand for me, not starting the timer. But anyways, guys, I want to know yes or no in the comments below. Have you ever dealt with the fact that you don't want to like something? Because I have done that. I have labored about it, where it's like, oh my gosh, I really want to say something, but there are potential implications. I know oftentimes there may be issues around, just those uncomfortable conversations that may ensue as a result, or even worse yet, the conversations that never happen and then the opportunities that never come. We have to sit here. We have to weigh those options and opportunities. It could be about women. It could be about people of color. It could be about a political party. All those things we see and we want to comment, but oftentimes I'm one who I would say I'm risk averse when it comes to the political side of things. There has to be and I'll give you my personal stance, there has to be such a huge swing where the majority of people get the side that you're on, or so you think. And as well, if you are going to be political, you got to be careful with your language and your tone. That is so important. I will give you more tips on that probably on another show, but today's episode is all about the questions you need to ask yourself before you decide to jump in and be too political. So I'm going to take a look right now to see what y'all are saying about holding back. Okay. I love what Bonnie says. You need to watch over the brand like a child. Absolutely. You need to watch your brand. You need to be careful what you associate yourself with. Oftentimes, we'll see things that are even mildly political, but absolutely disgusting in the comments. So when you like something and it shows up on somebody else's newsfeed and they see the vile comments, even if the actual thing the post itself wasn't that crazy, but the comments have attracted a whole bunch of crazy, you get associated with that experience. So that's something you need to think about. Okay, so Marcello says, I go by my instinct. I stay away from politics and religion. I get it. And sometimes that's even hard to deal with, because sometimes those issues impact you personally because of your religion, because of your political leaning, and then you have to sit there and weigh the pros and the cons. Okay, I love it. Donovan says, protect the brand. Love it. Everybody's loving that, Bonnie. We need to make a hashtag out of that. Okay. And let's see. Yes, Keith says, yes, particularly with the roles I've held in previous companies. Oh my gosh. Kenyatta says, oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. Often Let's see. I always, grit in the day, I got to protect the brand. You absolutely got to protect the brand. I so agree. Unless you can be on brand. I love what Arwen's saying. Unless you can be on brand and respectful. So that's all in the language choice. And some strategies, although today's not really about strategies, about diving in, it's really about the questions you need to think about. One strategy I'd share with you as well is when you can take it from your own experience in a non-emotional way. And it's hard to do when you can lead with the facts, because a lot of times we even like things and they're not even fact checked, which is crazy. Like, think about all those conspiracy theories about COVID and what's the origin. And then we see all these things coming out to debunk all of that stuff, right? We've got two opposing sides when it comes to, do we go back to work or do we stay safe? Both sides have valid arguments. So here's what I want you guys to think about when you start to factor in what you should do. So let me just jump into the comments. Stay away from controversy that can affect my brand negatively. Tasty, I absolutely agree. And Daniel says, it takes too long to build a brand. Do not destroy it. And that is wise advice. And there are some people who their brand is political, and they get the permission to do it because it's their job. So we have to think about that as well. But not everybody has that privilege to do so. Your brand is your legacy. You guys are just killing it in the comments. Oh my gosh, I love it. If you can't, this is another good rule. Bonnie, you are fired tonight in the comments. If you can't add value, stay out. And I love this. Protect the brand, not your neck. You got to protect your neck too. Wu-Tang. Anyways, all right, let me jump in and stop acting the fool. All right, so let's go into my first point. The first thing that you have to understand when you're thinking, because sometimes you're chomping at the bit, you got to have this conscious Q&A period with yourself. Are you risk and policy aware? Because there are certain companies that your brand is their brand, especially when you think about the fact that you represent your company on networks like LinkedIn. Like, that's the obvious. Whereas on Facebook, you may not list your company that you work for, but definitely on networks like LinkedIn, you have to remember that brand connection. Are there any policies or guidelines, and social media guidelines or policies, that restrict that? Or even further, are there just as far as employee guidelines and policies, looking at the bigger picture, that may restrict any sort of public brand connection, political leanings? And then as well, are you aware of the risk? So a lot of everybody, I think everybody watching right now is definitely aware of the risk. They're definitely recognizing the fact that when you put something out there, or whatever it is, but in today's case, we're talking about political stuff, whether it's a comment, whether it's a like, whether it's a share, whether it is a post, it doesn't matter. The minute you interact, engage, post, you attach your brand, and you have to recognize the risk. So entrepreneurs, you have to recognize the risk that you may offend people. You may stop opportunities from happening without even realizing it, because these are these first brand impressions that people see, or especially while things are heated right now and hot, and these emotionally charged moments, especially considering everything that we're going through right now. It's like getting a text that probably was very innocent, but depending on the mood that you're in right now, you might be reading it a completely different way. And you have to remember, everybody right now they're in a heightened state of anxiety. And that is scary. So you have to remember the filters that it's coming in on. And the fact that there are some people who, for example, there was a question around a real estate agent who was very, very politically leaning to one side. And he didn't care about posting whatever he posted. But he may know his target audience, and they may all resonate with that. And he's willing to release the other side and the business that may come from the other side because he's being fed by one. So that might be part of his brand. So therefore, that was a decision. But you need to be risk and policy aware. So risk to how it could impact the business, the company, your reputation, and if there are any policies in place that might lead to disciplinary action or termination. You got to be aware of that. Okay, guys? This is so, so important. All right, the next question you need to ask yourself. Does it give more than it takes? Because I have seen things where it lends more to my brand if I actually make a comment. There are things, like it's not all 100% negative. Because you can comment on a policy that has been enacted that helps people, right? Because here's the thing, we always say business and politics don't mix, but they kind of do, because politics makes in the government makes decisions about business and how they run and how they interact. So sometimes you do need a voice. But again, it comes back down to how we're using the voice. And again, looking at the tone of the article. Does it lend to your brand? Because sometimes it can, but you got to be super careful. Does it give more to your brand or does it take away? So you can then identify, it's another way of identifying the risk, okay? And the next thing that you can think about is, if you decided that you wanted to be part of this conversation, right? And there are conversations that I have chosen in the past to be a part of. The question is, can you defend it in a non-emotional way? Meaning, if someone walks up to you, or let's say if you hop on a Zoom call with somebody and they say, "Oh, I saw your post last week on why, against the protesters in Denver and the nurses, that particular protest. And I was wondering why you posted that or what you think about that." If you could non-emotionally answer that and you're okay with that, you've assessed the risk, you feel that it is a reflection of who you are and you're okay standing in that space, can you defend it non-emotionally? Can you just kick the facts in person over a conversation if your boss asked you about it? Can you be proud of what you wrote? Or was it vile? Was it stressful? Does it cause stress? Because there are ways that you can lend a voice where it's like facts and it's non-argumentative. It's about the tone. And you have decided, and this is the big decision. Again, I'm risk averse oftentimes just because of what I do and how I do it. I usually stay away from that stuff. But if I could defend it non-emotionally and I'm okay with it, then that's one to think about. I'm going to jump into the comments in a second. So tell me what you guys think about these. I want to know. The question, here's another one, is can you actually stay silent on things? And this is where it's like it reaches a boiling point where you can no longer stay silent. For a huge example, I have 2 sons, grown sons. I know, don't let this face fool you. I got grown sons. And when I was noticing the escalation in social media evidence, because I think it's always been there, the social media evidence around brutality of young black men. I'm black, my kids are black. I couldn't stay silent about it. I had to have a voice because it affected me personally. It kept me up at night. I chose my platforms where I was willing to share my voice, and LinkedIn was not one of them. But I shared it on Facebook. So I selected, and that would be another tip, selecting the platforms where you choose to share your voice. But I had to share perspective from a mom, from being a mom and having those conversations that I have to have with my sons that other parents don't have to do on the level of frequency or on the specific topic that I have to have with my sons. So I shared that. I could no longer stay silent. It would keep me up at night. So I made a choice, but I was very careful with the wording. While there is an emotional tone in the sense of being a mom, I could defend it without being afraid, without, going into a moment where I am out of control. I could be very in control. So that's what you have to ask yourself. Sometimes there are certain hills that you're willing to die on, and you got to decide that. So let me know what you guys think. And then my final one is, could you take another angle? So sometimes there are opportunities where you can look for, especially when there are obvious lies, or do we say lies, or lies, facts that are not really facts. Sometimes you have to step in there and say, actually, that's not true. And then lead them to the article that debunks what is being said. Because at least there you're having a voice without having a voice. Do you know what I'm saying? You're having a voice in the sense that you are showing that you're educated in this topic, but you're also saying, I don't tolerate lies, or I don't tolerate misinformation that is informing the public in a negative way, so I'll do my part. So that's a different way that you can look at it. So I am now, based off of what I've shared, I'm going to now step into the comments and see what you guys have to say about this, because this is heated. And as you notice, I kind of wove in things to do, things to not do, but these are the questions that you need to ask yourself. Every single time you see something, you're chomping at the bit, but you're like, should I or should I not? These are the questions you need to ask yourself. All right. So let me move up on here. Drive the wagon, don't jump on it. Love that. Okay. Yes, if you add, I love what Wendy's saying. Yes, if you add enlightening compliments that don't inflame. Because another hazard to joining these conversations is attracting trolls. And that's a real hazard. There's a lot more things, especially on Instagram and on Facebook, around blocking people and they don't even know they're blocked, which is incredible. We don't have those if you're watching from LinkedIn. And then let's say Keith says, most of the time I try to opt for giving people facts and data instead of just opinion. I like to I share links to expert sources. As the saying goes, all others bring data. That's what I'm talking about. You can lend to the conversation in a productive way. Marcello says this is sage advice. Thank you, Marcello. I appreciate that. Oh, Arwen says, the last one. Can you stay silent? And that is a beautiful test. And it is so hard sometimes, but you got to ask yourself if you can do that. Michael says, using inductive and deductive reasoning is the key while having credible sources to back up your claims. Because that's the thing. We've seen so many things where it's like, I have to step in and say that is false. That is a lie. And here's why. Or that is not true. And again, you have to also choose your language, right? So that you're not, and going right into that tone you use is key. So there, you guys are backing me up in the comments right now. Pamela says, defending non-emotionally and without attacking the person is key. Exactly. Taking that other angle, thinking about it. And Sonia says, key, which is selecting your platform with wisdom. Very important. And Daniel says, very good advice, Cher. Personal versus professional. And that's things that we need to think about, is where is it okay to have these conversations? I think it's always okay if you see misinformation and you just want to say, hey, that's not true. Take a look at this, right? Yes, just the facts. Opinions are rarely of great importance and ineffective decision making, and tend to point to biases and prejudice and isms, but not of contribution significance for professional matters. Absolutely agree, Esther. I love it. Shawnee says you got to be super informed. And you guys are just killing it in the comments. I love it. Oh my gosh. This is tame your emotions, says Kemi. Don't let your emotions tame you. Love that quote right there. Okay. You guys are killing it tonight. Remain true to your purpose and your values. That's what I'm talking about. So these are the questions that I'm going to leave you with. I could do a whole other show on how to position yourself and all that kind of stuff, but I think this is a really good start, considering all that's out there. You got to ask yourself these questions, and then you will feel good about whatever your decision is, whether it's too political or you're okay with it and you're ready to go forward with connecting your brand to a cause. So what I want to know, guys, is what you thinking? Did you like it? Let me know. Give me the thumbs up. Give me a little applause. You know I love my applause. Hearts. Was this good advice for you? Let me know. All right. So let me know right now, because I love seeing that flurry of emojis, because it just brings out my eyes. Anyways. All right. So on to the next segment of the show. We're talking about my Scrollstopper. And today's Scrollstopper is brought to you by, let me just go full screen here, is brought to you by John Welsh. And John is a co-owner of Sky Mouse Studios. It's a marketing service and content provider. And I really liked what I saw here with John today. So let's take a look. This is, and let's just jump back to me for a second. Actually, not yet. So what I really liked about this is a snippet of a podcast that he does, right? So when we look at this, I loved the layout. So this was an active video, as you can see. And I loved the fact that while he doesn't have live, so what you're seeing right now is a lot of people have lives. They can go live, have the two cameras, having people talking, but he doesn't have live yet, or not that I know of. But if you don't have live and you're still interviewing people, this is a great way to showcase this content. And it's so clean. What I loved about it, it was so clean. So let's go back to full screen here. And it was just a short teaser to the entire conversation. So I just kind of, in the middle of it, you can see I screenshotted it. John is a lovely man, doesn't look as angry as he looks right here, but I didn't have time to go back and get another one. Anyways, he has his title on top, what you can do in caps right now. Can you do this for your prospects? And then he has the title of Townsend Warlaw, and that's his name, and John Welsh, so you know who they are. And it's nice and short. So here's what John wrote, and I loved what he was writing, and I'll read it out to you guys because I know it's hard to read if you're on a smaller mobile device. With the emoji, it says, selling is hard right now. I'm hearing this a lot. I got an email today about it actually. I can't imagine how hard it would be to be a salesperson in this environment if I believed what 99% of the sales experts try to tell you. Luckily for me, I think it's all nonsense. This week on Humans of LinkedIn, which is his podcast, Townsend Wardlaw joins me to discuss one of the secrets to making sales easy. It's simple. Stop selling. Instead, start serving. Townsend says it way better than me, so watch the clip. Link in the comments to the full episode. So, and then he's got his branded hashtag, which is Humans of LinkedIn, and he's got his LinkedIn hashtag. So I love the fact that he does a great job setting up his guest. I love what he says. Townsend says it better than me. So watch the clip. And then also really smart, what he did is he made sure that, and a lot of people, I keep on seeing this mistakes, do not share YouTube videos, especially if it's your own content, on LinkedIn, because you won't get the reach if you, instead of just uploading it to the network. So he uploaded this 1 minute and 44-second video with the snippet of Townsend talking about how if you just lead with serving, you can actually sell. So, and the fact that he has a link in the comments, right? And here's another thing that I absolutely loved. And let's take a look, the end graphics. So what I find, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second, but what I find is a lot of people, what they're doing is they are over branding these videos, right? These square sized videos. Less is more sometimes. Can I get a witness? Let me know in the comments. Less is more. So at the end of his brand, at the end of the video, it's just this 2-second they call it a stinger. It's just like his logo drops down, so Humans of LinkedIn, and like with a tiny little sound, kind of like how when we hear the Netflix sound or the HBO sound, it's like just a little thing that we will always remember when we see this logo. So it's just a little branding, a little audio plus video branding. So let me just show you what this looks like. So it is Humans of LinkedIn, and this thing just drops down right at the end, and then it goes to black. And I just thought it was such a good way of doing this. So I want to see what you guys think. So I'm going to jump into the comments right now. Short form copywriting. Let me see. This is too timely. Well, thank you, Eric. I appreciate you. The difference between sales professionals versus sales consultants. I love it. Exactly, Kenyatta. I love it too. And again, going back to keeping it simple. Like Marcello says, and you just have to, or Simone said, keep it simple. And Marcello joined in with the amen. That's right. So what I liked about this, again, is if you don't have access to LinkedIn Live, you can simply create these little smaller snippets where you're showing clips to the interview, and then you're linking to your YouTube channel, or then you're linking to the full interview on your Facebook page. So that would be something that you might want to consider, because then you can create multiple ones and you can share them, and that is shareable in multiple networks because it is in that square format. It just caught my attention, and it made me think, because I don't necessarily want to, because there's a lot of interview shows on LinkedIn right now that I don't necessarily want to do a live one, maybe once in a while, but not as a regular. But I do want to interview people, so that's a great way to create that content. So I loved it. I don't know about you. Let me know. Did you like it? Did you love it? You thinking about it? Let me know with your emojis. That matters. Okay. So the next thing, let's move over to Tap That App, 2-piece. And in this one, I loved it, and it was a recommendation, which I'll share with who recommended to me in just a second. And of course, if you have a recommendation for Tap That App, let a sister know. Just send it to me, DM me, tag me in something, just so that I can test it out, and perhaps it will be featured on my show, because you know me, I love new technology. But anyways, so this one is, if you are an Instagram user, you know how frustrating it is to create well-formatted captions. That's the word. I was like comments. No, captions. Trying to get those spaces in the middle, because we do that really well, and that works really well. It's very visually pleasing on LinkedIn, and you can just do that with the space bar. It doesn't require anything. But on Instagram, if you want to put spaces in between lines, you have to use periods and then go period, enter, or use all these ugly emojis. And after a while, it just muddles what your post looks like. But what you don't know is there is a shortcut that will create a space. But instead of figuring out what that shortcut is, someone's already done it for you. And they've created this website. It ain't pretty. Let me warn you from now. It's not pretty. But it absolutely works like a charm. So I'll give you the URL in a second, but let me show you. So basically, it is called Instagram Caption Maker. Okay, that's all it is. And it's hosted on a website. So basically, it's like this basic HTML website. I'm telling you, this is what it looks like from my phone, and it's an HTML website. But what you do is you type in this box here, you put the spaces that you want, and you put convert and copy to clipboard, exactly how you would have typed it. And then you paste it into your Instagram post. You will get the spaces with no characters. So if you want to level up and get what they call Spacey, which is their app, which is the original caption converter. So these are for Instagram captions. You can pay the price, as they say, of a coffee, and you can have the app. But quite frankly, it looks practically the same as the website. It's up to you, maybe more convenient. So consider that, but it will add in the spaces for you. So it makes it a lot more pretty. If you are thinking about getting that, I recognize the URL is long, but it is what it is. Apps for Life host, and this would be the time right now to take a picture of the screen. If you want it, it's there for you. So appsforlifehost.com/Instagram/caption maker, and here you go. You got that. All right. I'm going to now, let's jump live back to you guys. I am going to jump into the comments because it's time to, I didn't show you who gave me this wonderful suggestion. So thank you so much, Ann Baden, for sharing this with me because I was really looking for somebody. So I appreciate you. And I was really looking for an app this week. So you came in right on time and shared that with me. And so I appreciate you, Ann. Thank you so much. And again, you guys can do that too. If you have an app you like, let me know, right? And of course, I'm going to cheat time again, as I always do. I think I have to make my show like 40 minutes. Maybe I'll be better. I don't know if I want to do that, but it forces me to stay on time-ish. So I am going to also let you know that, don't forget, if you're not following the Just Ask Cher hashtag, I mean, come on now. Where are you in your life? This is life, that Just Ask Cher hashtag. I'm kidding. But you can always follow it just by clicking in the hashtag. If you search it and you can follow it and you get more of my content, and make sure it increases your chances of actually seeing my lives more regularly, which is always awesome. And of course, did you know sharing is caring, right? So if you made it this far in the episode, I ask that you share it when I'm done with your network so that they can learn how not to be too political with their, I know it's a little blurry, not too political with their brands so that they don't damage it. So one other thing before I answer your questions, I want to let you guys know about something. Who loves networking? I do. Who wants to network tomorrow night? I do. Well, if you've never been to a LinkedIn local, or if you are jonesing for a LinkedIn local, you got to check this out. I will be a panelist tomorrow night. I'll give you the URL in 1 second. So I bring the estrogen to all of this testosterone, but all smart people all around. So Frank, Joel, Jonid, Dale, Adam, shout outs to all of you. Be hanging out with you guys tomorrow night virtually. So if you're looking for it, you just go to live. This is the time. Take another screenshot, friends. live.remo.co/e/LinkedIn local. This is, if you've ever been wondering what virtual events and meetups could look like, this is free, by the way. So go and sign up. I'll go to the screen one more time so you can catch it if you didn't catch it. But this is a really cool technology. If you're thinking, oh my gosh, we have to take our event virtual, you might want to check Remo or Remo. I don't know how to say it, but I would say Remo because the O makes the E say its name. Anyways, here's the address one more time, but I encourage you guys to check it out because this is how you can see, is this the new face of networking? Is this what we're going to be doing? It's a great way to meet people. We've been jonesing for a LinkedIn local. Here's one that's happening tomorrow night between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So take note. Okay, friends? And now I'm going to jump into the comments and give my A's to your Q's, even though I jumped the line and did the coming up next. I didn't want to leave you guys out there in the dark about this. All right. Yeah, tap that app. So you guys are loving the tap that app, which is awesome. Evernote app for taking notes. Okay, you know what, Michael? My favorite note-taking app is OneNote. I use it with all my clients. Like everybody has a OneNote book. I convert them from Evernote over to OneNote, but Evernote is awesome. No shade on Evernote. I just love OneNote. But thank you for the recommendation. Keep them coming. Oh, and Marcello says sign up for free. Thank you, Marcello, for sharing the link. This is what community is all about. If you guys are not connected to Marcello, he is one person you need to be connected with because I think that's awesome. Robert says, yay, congrats, Cher. Yeah, I love this stuff. Listen, guys, I never met a mic that I didn't like. So tomorrow night, I may do something fancy with my background, not this gray plain background. I keep it plain because my show is busy. But that's all I got to say about that. And I think that's about it, unless you guys have any more questions. I know sometimes the questions don't show up live the way I want them, but I do appreciate you guys all showing up. And Christopher is like, woo, OneNote. I'm telling you, this is my favorite. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode. And I look forward to seeing you next week, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or tomorrow night, live, LinkedIn Local. Come on. We're going to do this. It's virtual. It's awesome. So come join me. Come hang out. Let's all do it. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. And look at that. I have 55 seconds left. Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I will see you on the next episode. All right. Intro out. Hi, I'm back. Okay, bye.